So y'all, I had a self-realization moment, and I feel like somebody else could benefit from what I got to say. So hear me out. A lot of times in our relationships with our partners, we tend to focus on all the things they don't do. Everything from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. He doesn't appreciate me. He doesn't show that he loves me. He's not emotionally available. He doesn't talk about this. He doesn't express himself. We see a lot of these things on social media, like in the 60-second clips, and men and women talking about if your partner don't do this, then the third, then you shouldn't be with them. If your man doesn't do this, then the third, then you shouldn't be with him. Instead of, I would challenge everybody to put down Instagram relationship tips and to put down Facebook relationship tips. I would say go on a 2-week detox. Just 2 weeks. 2-week detox. No social media at all. And just focus on your man or your woman. And sit and self-reflect and see where you have dropped the ball. And where all the things that you feel are wrong may not necessarily be wrong. Sit and in retrospect and acknowledge all the things. If you need to make a list, make a list. But write down all of the things that your partner does do that you truly appreciate. Everything from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. Just focus on all the things that they do. Don't even think to acknowledge the things that they don't do. And in that 2-week time frame, work on being present, actively communicating, listening with the intent to hear and not with the intent to respond. Listen with the intent to learn how to love your person better and not with the intent to use whatever they're saying against them to make them feel worse about how they feel. I challenge you to create a safe space. I'm going to say for your man because I'm a woman. For your man to show up and exist and just be in the relationship. And see how that transitions. Express to him the things that you feel like you need. Not the things you want necessarily, but just the things that you need that he doesn't provide. And do it in a tone that doesn't seem condescending or accusatory. And see how that changes the narrative within your relationship. I was saying how a lot of times we focus on the things that they don't do. Sometimes we focus so much on the things that they don't do that we can't see all of the sacrifices that they make for the sake of us. And that's both men and women. But a lot of times with us women, we don't know how to sit and acknowledge the good in our person. A lot of us will sit and say, yeah, I do this. Oh, he never does this and he never does that. And all he hears is, I never. And almost never does he hear, excuse me, I'm drinking wine, y'all. Don't judge me. Almost never does he hear, I appreciate all of the many sacrifices that you have made for me. If all he hears is what he doesn't do, it's going to appear to him almost like that little boy that I mentioned in one of my previous videos. It's almost going to appear to him that he can't do nothing right, that it's almost impossible to make you happy. And then that causes other issues. I'm fully aware this can go vice versa, y'all. But I'm only speaking from my perspective as a woman. A lot of times, we can't get the things we want in the relationship because he already feels unappreciated for the things that he already does. I remember being in a relationship and all I could say was, well, when my car tires need changing, he don't change my car tires. When the oil need changing, I gotta go to the mechanic. When I get home, I got to fuss with the kids to do whatever. And da-da-da-da. I never acknowledged the fact until after the relationship was over. I never said anything to him about it. But sitting in retrospect, trying to figure out where I went wrong or where I dropped the ball and not just pointing the finger at him, I had to sit with myself and see. He would get the kids when he got off from work so that I could focus on schoolwork. A lot of nights he made dinner so that I could do my schoolwork. A lot of times when I wasn't present, he was showing up for the kids. A lot of times when I was like on him about why he wasn't doing this, that, and the third for the car, he was handling stuff in the house with the kids and their chores. Like, when I was saying, oh, you don't do this and you don't do that, he was paying the bills. Like, and it took me leaving the relationship to fully sit with myself and see all of the things that he did do that I never acknowledged him for. All of the things that I was able to do because of how he showed up in the relationship, handling other things, made it possible for me to achieve certain goals. But it wasn't until I was able to sit with myself and not just point the finger at him that I could see where I went wrong with me and how I handled him in the situations. But yeah, that's my TED Talk, y'all. I hope this made sense. I hope it helps somebody. And I'm out. One more thing, y'all. We can't just sit and not take accountability for the role we play in the relationship when things go bad or when things go sour. Like, a relationship is a two-way street. The effect of it falling apart is almost never solely on one person. Somewhere along the way, it boiled down to two people dropping the ball. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about situations where your person stepped out and did whatever they did or cheated on you or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about in situations where somebody ends up feeling unappreciated 80% of the time. So much so that they don't feel a need to even fight for the relationship anymore. So much so that they feel like, okay, well, if I never do anything right, I might as well not do nothing at all. Or I'm always doing this, but they never acknowledge my good. Why is it always when I'm not doing something that they would like me to do, I'm always getting the ass end of the stick? And in doing that, y'all, nobody wants to be in a relationship where they're always being picked apart. I'm learning and sitting in self-reflection. Being able to sit with myself and take accountability for my fuck-ups. And feeling like that man didn't do all the little things when it came to my car, just like little things, made me I was weird to him. I'm not proud of it. And as I can sit here now, I can see where I went wrong. I don't have no regrets because I feel like everything happens as it should. Because I went through that, it molded me into who I am now. So I know the woman that I am today, like, I'm for sure a catch. I've done the work. I'm doing the work actively to be the woman that I need to be in my relationships. So the next doesn't have to suffer for the last. But you got to be able to sit with yourself and take accountability for the roles you play. It ain't all that man's fault. If nobody cheated and the relationship went to shit and he wasn't beating on you or you wasn't beating on him, there was no abuse involved and things just fell apart, you couldn't see eye to eye, irreconcilable differences or whatever the case may be, most likely there were two parties at fault at some point or another. You can't be in a relationship for years and you're never at fault for anything or you're never wrong for nothing. At some point you went wrong. You were the problem. And until you can sit with yourself and acknowledge that you were the problem and the role you played in the demise of the relationship, your next relationship will most likely end up the same way.